What's going on, guys? Today we've got Honolulu Pickleball's Gen 4 J6NF and J6FC Plus paddles to talk about. Even though Honolulu has kept their same J fill-in-the-blank naming system, the new J6 shapes bring a few new changes to the Honolulu offering. In addition to the obvious cosmetic makeover, an overall dimensional adjustment brings these elongated Honolulu paddles back to their roots with a focus on stability and sweet spot size, while incorporating new age construction details, with these two paddles donning some of the highest stock twist weights for any elongated Gen 4 paddle so far. With this channel's discount code PBMED, you can purchase either of these two J6 models for $175, which is pretty much the same as the other Gen 4 paddles Honolulu has released so far. As mentioned before, the construction and appearance of these paddles have some interesting new changes, as well as a couple things that will stay the same. For one, these paddles are both elongated with long handles, but have been optimized for the highest possible twist weights while maintaining reasonable swing weights. Essentially, what they did here was take the overall shape of the J2NF, the extended long handle version, and lengthen the face while cutting off some of the rounded top. It's obviously a touch less wide too, but you get the picture. This gives the face a more angled off look that maximizes the total face surface area and lateral side-to-side stability. I'll put the measured specs on screen to show how this translated to reality with the important takeaways. First off, the numbers for each of these paddles are relatively comparable. The swing weight for my J6NF was 117 and my J6FC Plus was 118, which are both right around the 50th percentile for elongated shaped paddles, and the balance points, or center of gravity for each paddle, are also right around the 50th percentile. The thing that makes these more meaningful, however, is the fact that the twist weights of these paddles are some of the largest twist weights of any elongated paddle currently on the market. In fact, if we look at the elongated Gen 4 paddles specifically, these are the number 2 and number 3 highest recorded twist weights to date, beaten only by the Selkirk Boomstick, which has a slightly higher swing weight and comes from the factory with those 7.5 gram weights added to each side. Correlating that ratio of average swing weight and average balance points to remarkably high twist weights makes for incredibly stable paddles that maintain a very good level of maneuverability for their elongated shapes. Both of these paddles have a 16mm all-foam core, with the J6NF having an EPP foam center that meets with an edge ring of EVA foam in a puzzle piece shaped interlock design. The J6FC Plus, on the other hand, has a straight meetup of the EPP foam center and the external EVA ring. Like the previous Honolulu models that follow these two designs, the core of the FC Plus model moves a little more freely, which provides a slightly plusher feeling paddle with a higher dwell time. The J6NF is a little less plush and a little more crisp feeling by comparison. Another contributing factor to that feel is probably the fact that the J6NF has a layer of fiberglass sandwiched between the carbon fiber layers in the face, while the J6FC Plus face is made from multiple layers of carbon fiber without fiberglass. Not only are the overall shapes of these paddles long, but the handles are long as well, and while I feel there's plenty of room for two hands, you should note that the bottom of the paddle face is more square and less tapered on these paddles, so if you know you like that tapered face shape, just keep that in mind here. For overall play category, I'd put both of these at the low end of power, both for pop and drive speed, just like the J2NF, NFK, NFT, and all the other letter variations of the Honolulu foam lineup. These paddles are definitely some of the more tameable power paddles, and if I haven't stressed this point enough, one thing that sets these paddles apart from some other Gen 4 power paddles like the Grooven Laser HD or the Rhombus Quanta series is remarkably high stability levels right out of the box. One of my first thoughts when playing with these paddles was that they would each probably be good tournament paddles, because the consistency in feel and ball response is quite predictable in more of a linear, non-exponential effort to power output correlation. Considering their predictability and stability, I found that control is pretty nice in terms of dinks and drops, and for paddles that still flirt in the power category, you probably won't find many easier paddles to control than these. The flip side of that, however, is that if you want a paddle that is really pushing the top limits of pop or power for drive speed, these are not likely to be what you're looking for, and I would direct you to paddles like the Flick F1 or the Gearbox Powers. Most people who know me at this point could probably predict that I prefer the FC Plus model since it's the plusher version of these two with a higher dwell time, but that's just personal preference. Power on drives is great in both of these models and pretty much the same one to another, but the NF is a touch more poppy, likely from the face layering with fiberglass and the snugger interface between the foam center and the foam ring in the core. Most people could probably play these just as they are out of the box and be fine, but I did do some tinkering with different weight setups because I like the way that most all foam core paddles feel with some added weight, even when they feel already good out of the box. For my thought process on weight placement for most foam paddles so far, I generally like to put a little weight at the bottom corners for stability benefit, and then add some weight at the top of the paddle to extend the sweet spot further up the paddle face. One setup I tried was a 3-gram bar at each of the paddle face corners, which led to an increase in twist and swing weight that I'll put on screen now in my FC Plus model. This was honestly still pretty fine, but it was a touch on the heavy side. I then tinkered with some other various setups, and the one I've landed on as my go-to for these two paddles is 4 inches of 0.5 grams per inch weight around the bottom corners, and 3 inches of the same 0.5 grams per inch weight at the top corners, which brought the swing and twist weights to the numbers I'll put on screen now. I will say one interesting thing about that weight setup for this paddle that I discovered by total chance, which is that because of this paddle's particular balance point and a multitude of other factors, adding that particular amount of weight at these locations didn't change the stock balance point of 243 at all, which remained 243 even after adding that weight. There's a lot of geometry type stuff that would explain this, but I'll just say that this is actually pretty significant as I sort of think of balance point as the second main factor alongside swing weight that gives a paddle its perception of being head heavy or head light in the hand. The swing weight went up a few points with this setup, but a constant balance point means that one of the two most modifiable factors didn't increase, which adds to the further benefit of the added weight without as much downside. I'll also say a couple quick things about a comparison I think is pretty pertinent, and that's how these J6 models compare to the already existing J7NF, which is Honolulu's other elongated full foam model. Comparing the shape of these two paddles, the J7NF has more of that tapered bottom paddle face compared to the more square face of the J6 models, and the top corners of the J6 models are also a little more angled compared to the more rounded top of the J7NF. Again, as mentioned before, this gives the J6 models more overall surface area on the paddle face, which gives them higher stability, a bigger sweet spot, and also provides greater overall mass for higher plow-through power on drives. The J7 model, however, is lighter and more maneuverable, has more room on its handle for two hands with its tapered paddle face, and is equivalent to the J6NF and FC Plus on price. I did confirm with Honolulu Pickleball that they're not going to do a J7FC Plus, so if you like that sort of core setup, you're going to have to go with the J6FC Plus model. And there you have it. That's my take and overall experience so far with Honolulu's new J6NF and J6FC Plus paddles. I hope the review was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you here for the next one.